Welcome to the third segment of our Technology Roundtable. My name is Roman Gaida, and I will be the moderator for our panel. This Technology Roundtable will cover important issues in the business finance space. In this third segment, we will discuss the new world of business finance. Let me reintroduce our panel. Christian Dolan is CEO of NorthteQ. Our next panel member is Kyle Mack. He is the CEO of Middesk. And lastly, Chris Johannesson is the Managing Director of Digital Strategy at Angst Commercial Finance. Welcome, everybody. With customers being always connected in their personal lives, those same expectations transfer over to their business lives. Chris, what are you seeing in customer behavior and expectations in business finance today?
Yeah, that's a great question and very top of mind. So, digital transformation has been on supercharged here over the most recent time. I mean, many of the businesses that we run into would be considered by pandemic standards to be essential businesses, which means their business hasn't slowed down. It's been critical for them to be able to solve their business needs for financing their equipment in a digital format. So number one would be mobility for sure. And then speed and simplicity. Speed and simplicity is absolutely key. The last thing that any salesperson wants to do is to be bogged down and be overburdened with the finance deals. We've deployed many tools both to our vendors as well as to our salespeople that have allowed them to take financing in some regards self-service. One of the things that we look at is just how are we performing year over year? And in Q1 of 2020 versus Q1 of this year, we processed almost 40% more business through the house. We haven't added staff, but what we've done is we made some very large and meaningful technical and digital investments within the business over the last year. Really was not a reaction to COVID. It was really what was on our digital roadmap. And it's proven itself to be providing a higher degree of service, continuing to adhere to what our service level agreements are with our dealers and with our customers. So it's been absolutely instrumental.
Great. Christian, what have you been able to deliver to finance companies and to customers to improve their experience in business lending?
Sure. I think I'll start by saying congratulations to the Angst teams. I mean, that's incredible to basically increase volume by 40% with keeping headcount relatively steady. That's really impressive. And it also, I think, is a reflection of a great team that you have. Now back to your question. So we were fortunate enough for a big portion of 2020 to spend a fair bit of time actually interviewing vendors and dealers and really trying to get in the minds of what our customers' challenges are. And I think a couple of the things that Chris said were just absolutely instrumental. And I'll say first and foremost is simplicity. If you asked anybody to get on an e-commerce site as an individual and make a purchase, and you handed them a user guide and told them you got to follow this user guide in order to make the purchase, it's ridiculous, right? But on the commercial side, it's not that uncommon to think that we need to provide dealers or vendors or end users that need financing user guides to use the software, which is just silly, right? So we need to keep the complexity behind the scenes. We need to keep things simple. And really that's where we're trying to focus is just really trying to keep the technology simple and usable.
Great. That's very important. Again, the user interface, the user experience is obviously very important in this. Thank you. Kyle, your company's ability to streamline validation is key to the businesses being able to expedite their financing process. What are you seeing on the horizon in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll just echo Christian and say low friction and simple experiences. I think that's really the place we all want to try to get, while at the same time making sure that's not also opening us up to risk. A lot of that, from my perspective, requires access to information to power those decisions in a much more efficient way. I think it's interesting to just take a quick sort of dive on the differences between consumer and business data. On the consumer side, there is a significant amount of regulatory requirements that sit around banks, lenders, consumer reporting agencies, background check companies, credit bureaus, to make sure that the information that they provide on people is complete and accurate and up to date. And it's made a lot of progress in the last 10 years. That is the foundation for being able to power high risk decisions in a simple and streamlined way. When you look on the business side, though, there is not that same degree of regulatory scrutiny for the businesses that provide access to commercial data. And so because of that, you see the ripple effects in the types of asks, the type of requirements that need to get set in place to take a business from application through to, you know, approval and origination. And what that looks like more specifically is document requests. You know, there's a lot of information that's required to make a decision simply because it's not available to purchase or through other types of data partnerships. So finding the opportunities to partner with, you know, companies like NorthTech who can really pull in information from many different sources and paint that picture in an efficient way without always needing to ask for documents. To be able to make decisions quickly, decisions in minutes, not hours, not days, but really trying to get decisioning to a place where you have the information required to make decisions as quickly as possible. I think that starts to get us a bit closer to the consumer experience. And then finally, a technology forward, high quality experience. You know, people have a high bar for what it looks like to go through and create an account for something and to communicate with a service provider through their phone, through their desktop in a very efficient way. And so to me, those are a few of the areas. And I do think the companies that can get that will really be the ones that earn trust and earn sort of the respect of businesses that are forming now and going to be growing. And that will really be the winners for the future.
Agreed. Thank you. Christian, how would you recommend our listeners position themselves to leverage such partnerships?
Well, I think what's key in all this is it's ever evolving, right? I mean, we're having this conversation in 2021, but what are things going to look like in 2022, 2023, 2027? And I think, you know, there's two aspects of it. One is mindset. You have to be in the mindset that things are ever evolving. There's black swan events like we've seen in the last year. There's technology changes, and then there's, you know, awesome new service providers like Middesk that show up that you need to be able to connect to. And so, you know, from one angle, it's always figuring out how to reduce friction and make the usability and experience for the user better. That's what it's all about. In order to do that, we're a strong believer in the platform. We think you need to invest in technology that's going to allow you to grow. In other words, if you install technology with a certain timestamp on it, 2021 technology, you might be obsolete by 2026. So it's all about being in the cloud, being in a platform, and being in a technological ecosystem where you can connect with different platforms. That will allow you to take advantage of these awesome services, as well as make the user experience better in the future.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. That brings us to the end of our Technology Roundtable. I'd like to thank our panel again, Christian Dolan, CEO of NorthTech, Kyle Mack, CEO of Middesk, Chris Johannesson, Managing Director of Digital Strategy at Angst Commercial Finance. And I hope you've enjoyed our discussion. I'd like to direct you to our panelists' contact information and their web pages if you would like to continue the discussions with them and explore these topics further. Thank you for joining our roundtable, and watch for future videos on our YouTube channel.